Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. And we are so thrilled to be offering one of the first of its kind digital, virtual, and continuous learning environments, enabling parents and children to connect from all around the world. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions and to create space on all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures for us to live up to our bold slogan, support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. We recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, that also translates as recreating and co-creating environments, both socially and politically, that will enable our children to thrive. For those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we also write thought pieces every other Sunday. We actually just scheduled the thought piece to drop this upcoming Sunday, so be sure to meander over to our website and check out our online content. Now, if it is the case that you are looking for a listening alternative, well, we're available on 12 different podcast platforms for your listening leisure, and we provided you with access to the links in the description down below. Now, as is the convention, be sure to subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you are aware of every time we post. And of course, if you like our conversations and you want to keep them going, like, comment, and share this segment. Let's get into it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And today our topic of discussion is mental health. On the conversation of mental health, we're going to be doing a 2-part series this week on confidence. And I think that it's a great time of the year to talk about building and maintaining and establishing confidence. And I have a few words of wisdom to share on the topic. So I am going to make it a 2-part series because I think there's so many different areas, values, beliefs, different working systems that play into cultivating and maintaining a sense of confidence and building a strong foundation for confidence to grow continuously and to thrive. Now, a caveat before jumping into today's topic: confidence, typically speaking, cannot really function under the operator of needing validation externally. So I think the one thing that is the working thread to all of the areas that I'm going to talk about today is that it's very hard to build and create confidence if a lot of who you are or where you derive your sense of value and self-worth is based on external validation and based on people's opinions of you. So I think that rather than make that one of the points that I cover today, I want to say, just as a general disclaimer before jumping into my topics on confidence, that confidence typically builds when you start to drown out the opinions that other people have of you and really put into perspective the opinion that you have about yourself. So it's really just about cultivating a healthy and a grounded sense of self, and also about recognizing that regardless of the opinion du jour, like the popular opinion on the topic of you, you can stand firm in your sense of self-concept, and in having a strong sense of self-concept that's not aggrandized, that's not delusional, but that is really just well-grounded and well-informed. That really is the best breeding ground to establish confidence. I consider myself to be a confident person. It doesn't mean that I don't have moments where I'm unsure. It doesn't mean that I don't have moments where I feel nervous, right? I don't think confidence makes you someone who is completely immune to feeling uncertainty or to feeling nervous or to feeling unsure about yourself. These feelings I definitely do have, but I think I have them a lot less frequently and on topics that are less day-to-day. So I think people who struggle with confidence on day-to-day things. They struggle with confidence that they allow public opinion to really play a role into how they see themselves. And that's not an area that I struggle with confidence in. I think I've recognized that how I see myself needs to really supersede the external opinions that people have of me. I don't want to go on a tangent. I think this is the right time for me to jump into the tenets that I want to share with you today, but I did want to provide a general caveat that confidence in and of itself typically suffocates and drowns out if you're very fixated on other people's opinions of you. So it's very important for you to know that if you really want to build confidence, inner confidence that's well-grounded, that's well-rooted, that's healthy, and how people see you, what people think of you, it really needs to be a little bit more tuned out. It needs to be something that you recognize as none of your business, and it should not play into your working knowledge of yourself, your sense of self. So I guess with that said, let's jump into it. So I think confidence really starts to grow and flourish in the journey that we are each on in getting to know ourselves. And getting to know ourselves is going to be a lifelong endeavor because we're all always growing, always changing, shifting through different stages and phases in life. But I think that there are two clear milestones when it comes to getting to know ourselves. And I think those two milestones are what we know we're not and then what we know that we are. And I spent a lot of the stages and phases of like my formative years, my adolescent years, and my early 20s really establishing what I wasn't. Like I knew very clearly what I wasn't. And a lot of what brings up what you know that you're not is some of the riffraff, right? So I think when you're really on this quest of getting to know yourself apart from traditions, conventions, and norms, if you're really trying to dig in and get to know who you are actually, that kind of authenticity, that kind of transparency can really trigger a lot of haters, rumors, and gossip. And because I've had my fair share of those three, it helped me see what I wasn't, because a lot of people would put narratives in my face or narratives about me that really had me even like double checking with myself, like, am I this way? Do I represent these things? And so I was very clear earlier on in my life what I was not, right? And I knew what I wasn't before I knew what I was. And I think that confidence is a journey that encompasses both. You can speak very clearly, very concisely about what you know you're not, what you know you don't stand for, as well as what you know that you do stand for. And I think that as I matured, so as I started to really do the things that really I wanted to do, really accomplish the objectives and the goals that I wanted for myself, and get rid of the fear involved with stepping away and deviating from social conventions, social norms about what it was that I should be wanting at specific times and periods of my life. That's when I started to see who I was, right? So I think knowing who you are comes with doing the things that really are in alignment with your personal calling and with your own sense of inner purpose. So I think that I did take a traditional path by way of education. Like I felt that I took an educational path that allowed me to build a very strong and steady foundation. From that foundation, I could shift and move to different spaces and places that would better enable me to find that inner alignment. And that was sort of the logic that I had in mind when I picked my undergraduate degrees and then subsequently did my master's. It was like, well, I think I need these fundamental skill sets or this fundamental knowledge to really hit the ground running. And honestly, I think that having people run interference in your life and recognize not everyone deals with interference. There are some people who go through life not having to deal with rumors, with gossip, not having to deal with haters, having enemies. And I think that there's something to be said about being so authentic, being so transparent that it makes people want to dedicate their time and energy into trying to bring you down. So I don't think that that's everyone's journey in life, but it's definitely been mine. And I think that what it's done is this really provided me with clarity about who I am, who I'm not, and what that means by way of how I navigate moving forward. And I think that in navigating moving forward, recognizing like the best ways to deal with noise that takes place as you figure out your own journey, noise that can serve to collude and confuse you. I think that when you find clarity despite that noise, and when you can stick to who you know you are in the face of what you know you're not, it really starts to build confidence over time, because you recognize like, hey, like with all of these different narratives going on around me, like, do I believe in any of these things? And I think that it's very important that you know that your haters are the people who are spreading rumors, who are gossiping, who are really doing their best to throw dirt on you. They know that you're not the thing things that they're saying. I think that they are hoping that people will believe them, but I think that for them, it's really the cash cow if you start to believe them. So I think the best thing that you can do for yourself is to not buy into the narratives that people would love for you to believe, because it helps build their own argument against you, and that argument is simply built on their own sense of envy or jealousy or whatever it is that they're experiencing that makes them feel inclined to behave that way. So having a strong sense of confidence means you know who you are and who you are not in the front of whatever is being put in front of you. So if someone says, hey Rochelle, I heard that you're this, I don't need to take it personally. I don't need to internalize it, because I know that that's not who I am. What people believe is a better demonstration of who they are and where they are in their journey, and less so much about myself. And the reason why I can find solace and comfort in that belief is because of my second point on confidence. And my second point on confidence is always showing up, putting your best foot forward, but not breaking your back. And there's such a huge difference between those two things. And for me, I aim to give people always an opportunity to get to know me. And for the people who are open, who are curious, who want to get to know me, rather than want to try to fit me into the narrative that they've already constructed of me, they're going to have the opportunity to do that. I'm not in a stage and phase of my life where I feel like being a self-saboteur, a self-destructive by playing into the narratives that people have of me, because I don't see a point in speaking up. And I think that there have been times in my life where the narratives around me were so strong that I just played into it, knowing that that's not actually who I was, but it was an easier go at being in those environments that I was obligated to be in than trying to really build a campaign for this isn't who I am. Actually, I am, this kind of person. And I figured when I grow and when I go to university and different spaces, then I'll have more freedom and flexibility to really ensure that people have an understanding of me that is the understanding that I have of myself. So I've maintained that, that was in high school. In high school, I just kind of played into the narratives that were already circulating. It was easier said than done, and it enabled me to find a certain degree of safety. But after university, I was like, well, no, I really want to be the one to really be the advocate and the ambassador for who I know myself to be, and I really want to put my best foot forward. I want to make sure that in every interaction, people have an opportunity to see who I am and have an opportunity to at least leverage what they have experienced personally with what they might be hearing, so that they can make their own judgment. So I think that because I'm very much incentivized to put my best foot forward, that's an internal value of mine, but I also won't break my back. So I recognize who's open, who's curious, who really wants to get to know me, and I will do what I can to make sure that they really see who I am. But if you're someone who's really trying to just fit me into the typecast or the archetype or the narrative that you already have created of me, I'm not going to break my back. So I'm not the kind of person who's going to bend over backwards to get validation or to get approval from other people. That's never been me. That's never going to be me. And I don't think that you can build confidence trying to cater to other people's approval, right? So I think that people are going to like you or they're not going to like you. And that's just the thing of life. And I think that if you're authentic, if you're true to yourself, you're going to be polarizing to some extent, because you're not catering to the masses, and because you're catering to your sense of evolving self. That's going to create a lot of reactions in people, especially in people who are on different parts of their own journey towards self-acceptance, right? And so self-acceptance can be very threatening. It can be very deterring to people who have absolved themselves to never get there, because social alignment is so many deviations away from being able to accept themselves that they just grow bitter and resentment towards the people who do. And so because I recognize that different choices that people make can make people in varying degrees either receptive or very much not receptive to me and to my journey and to my sense of self-acceptance, which builds into my confidence, it means I'm just not going to break my back to have people like me. If you decide that you don't like me, I'm at peace with that. I'm not going to go home and cry about it. And I think that can be a deterrent to other people. And I think another area where confidence really starts to grow is when you recognize that people often derive value in seeing you play to their favor, right? So a lot of people in this world are the kind of people that everyone wants to be on their good side, right? Everyone wants to be in their corner. They want to be under their wing. It helps them sort of, gain a certain degree of status or social standing by being aligned to certain people. And so I think that can build into someone's identity, having so many people want to align to you, want to be considered as part of your circle. And I'm just not that kind of person, right? Like I can like you for who you are, but if you need me to seek your approval and your validation because that's what you're used to, that's the pedestal you're used to being on, I don't care for that kind of approval, right? I don't. I think there are a lot of people who can be true to themselves and still behave that way. But I think me being true to myself means that like either you're gonna meet me and like me and we're gonna jive, or you're gonna meet me, you're not gonna like me, and then we can kind of just like keep to ourselves. But there's not gonna be a scenario where I see you and I see like the status that you carry, and because of that, like I change who I am to try to gain approval. I don't think that approval seeking behavior is necessarily the kind of behavior that helps build confidence. I think sometimes approval seeking behavior can be very degrading. Like I've seen people do fairly degrading things to be able to seek approval from others. And I'm here, like all of us are human, right? Like all of us bleed. Like I don't think that anyone, first of all, can really handle the weight of being the approver without that really skewing their personality. And I just don't think that it's a healthy dynamic for anybody. And the last area that I think really does build in confidence in this first segment, and again, this is gonna be a part 2 series. The last area that I wanna talk about in this video that really does build confidence is when you are confident to walk away when staying hurts. And I think this is hard because a lot of people normalize discomfort. They normalize staying in environments that are toxic, that are hostile, that don't serve them well. And I think that that can really break your confidence because you start to believe that this is the kind of setting or these are the kind of interactions that you deserve, right? If you're staying there when you know you have the power and ability to change your situation, to change your circumstance, and you're not like making any strides or moves to try to do that, then that can really hurt and carve away at your confidence if you're continuously subjecting yourself to something that's painful. Whereas if you make the choice to step away, to move away, to do something different, then that builds confidence, right? Because a lot of people don't have the nerve, right? They don't have that inner belief that they could thrive in a different environment. A lot of the people who stay in situations that hurt is because they don't believe that they can do better or accomplish better. But I think that when you carry the internal flame of hope that like there has to be better than this, then it gives you the confidence to seek out better. And sometimes seeking out better means doing some inner healing, means focusing on yourself, focusing on the areas or the ways that you attract or allow certain characters who do hurt and harm in your life. But I do think that when you step away and when you do the work that you need to do, whether that's inner work or that's really being much more mindful about the kind of environments that you put yourself in, then that builds confidence, right? Because you're making choices that support you, that preserve you, and that enable you to show up authentically without being penalized for it, right? And I think that when we align ourselves to our truth in this way, when we, one, first on our journey to self-discovery, understand who we aren't, regardless of what the narrative of du jour is and regardless of what popular opinion might be, and then we start to really do the work to figure out who we are, like who we know we are to be, that really does build confidence. When we really endeavor to put our best foot forward, but recognize at what point is enough, like we're not going to break our back and, resort to approval seeking behavior, diminishing and degrading ourselves in the process. I think that that also really is a huge sort of gateway to help establish and build a strong foundation of confidence. And also walking away when staying hurts. I think these areas, like these actions, if we can build values around acting within these frames of references when the situation calls for a decision or for a move, when we do this, we will start to feel this inner confidence start to cultivate, and it can only continue to grow if you commit to yourself to always behaving in ways that are in alignment with your highest self, right? And again, I think sometimes what breaks our confidence are the kinds of settings and situations that are actually going to build our confidence depending on the perspective that we take of it. Like only when you stand for something are you going to attract people who have really strong opinions against you. And I am someone who has always been fairly willful. I've always been fairly opinionated, and it attracts opinionated and willful people who have maybe a different perspective. And you have to remain undeterred by that, right? You have to remain undeterred in the face of haters, in the face of people who are gossiping, who are spinning rumors. I mean, still continue to focus on you and what it is that you're doing, on the growth that you're hoping to attain, recognizing that anyone who takes time out of their day to also focus on you, they're just taking away from like the work that they could be doing in themselves, which means that maybe their confidence might not be as high as it could be. So wish them well on their healing journey. still maintaining a focus on yours. So that's what I really want to talk about in this first segment here on confidence. I wanted to do a two-part series because confidence is vast. I think I could continuously talk about confidence from different vantage points and still have more to say, because confidence is such a huge part of our growing sense of identity, accepting the person that we are, even if that person is different from the person that the society that we live in expects of us. And I think that there's so much bravery and courage that comes with embracing your sense of self and cultivating confidence in who you are when that's deviations away from like the norms, traditions, conventions that have been put on you. So kudos to you for doing that work. Now that's it, but definitely not all. We'll be back for more. But before letting you go, I would be remiss if I didn't let you know that we will be going live at least twice a month, every month for the foreseeable future on our Facebook page. So definitely be sure to tune in. Now these events are paid events, so if you do see yourself participating in our community on an ongoing basis, then I do suggest that you take a look at one of our package plans. Yes, so we do offer package plans over and above our live events, as well as access to webinars and workshops largely focused on self-mastery over and above these events. And we do have a calendar on our website, so definitely be sure to check that out. Now we are on the road to 1K, so definitely follow us, give us a like on all of our social media platforms, join the hashtag Game Changer community, and be part of the change that you want to see, allowing us a small role to play in your journey. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and we'll see you all very soon.